Welcome to SI Audiobooks. Please like and share for more content. Chapter 1: The Story of the Puppet. Summary. In the opening chapter, we are introduced to Geppetto, a poor carpenter who carves a wooden puppet he names Pinocchio. To Geppetto's surprise, the puppet comes to life, moving and talking on its own. Geppetto is delighted, but the puppet's mischievous behavior starts to frustrate him. Pinocchio is full of energy, curiosity, and a desire for independence, setting the stage for his journey of transformation. Analysis and notes. Pinocchio's animation symbolizes the beginning of his quest for life, but also his lack of control and discipline. This chapter introduces the tension between his potential for goodness and his impulsive, unruly nature. Chapter 2: Pinocchio's Escape. Summary. Pinocchio, feeling the freedom of being alive, decides to escape from Geppetto's home and run away. He meets a talking cricket who represents the voice of reason but refuses to listen to its advice. Pinocchio's escape is an early indication of his rebellious character, showing that he seeks independence, even if it leads him into trouble. Analysis and notes. This chapter emphasizes the theme of free will and the consequences of acting impulsively. Pinocchio's rejection of guidance represents his early immaturity and resistance to structure. Chapter 3: The Puppet's First Lesson. Summary. Pinocchio returns home after being chased by a group of children. He is hungry, tired, and has learned that the world is not as carefree as he imagined. Geppetto scolds him but also provides food and shelter. The puppet learns his first lesson about life's challenges and his dependency on others. Analysis and notes. This chapter reflects the beginning of Pinocchio's realization that he cannot simply live for himself, he needs others to survive. Geppetto's care and forgiveness highlight the importance of parental love and nurturing. Chapter 4: The Foolish Decision. Summary. Pinocchio, despite his lessons, remains impulsive and easily misled. He decides to go to a puppet show where he meets a bad influence, the puppet master, who promises to make him famous. Pinocchio is once again lured by false promises of success without effort, showing his susceptibility to temptation. Analysis and notes. This chapter introduces the recurring theme of deception. Pinocchio's inclination toward immediate gratification and lack of foresight reflect his immaturity. He is easily swayed by those who offer him empty promises. Chapter 5: The Fox and the Cat. Summary. Pinocchio encounters two characters, the fox and the cat, who pretend to be kind-hearted and offer him a scheme for turning his gold coins into a fortune. They deceive him into burying the coins in a field of miracles. The fox and the cat's true motives are revealed when Pinocchio returns to find that his coins have been stolen. Analysis and notes. This chapter serves as a strong warning against trusting deceptive individuals. The fox and the cat represent manipulation, and Pinocchio's gullibility is further exposed. It is also a lesson in the dangers of greed and trusting those who promise easy wealth. Chapter 6: Pinocchio's First Act of Kindness. Summary. In this chapter, Pinocchio begins to show signs of improvement. When he encounters a hungry puppet, he decides to give away his remaining food, a small act of kindness that marks a shift in his character. He begins to understand the importance of selflessness, though his journey is still filled with errors. Analysis and notes. This small act of generosity signals a turning point for Pinocchio. It shows that despite his flaws, he is capable of goodness. It highlights the theme of personal growth, showing that even small steps toward change are important. Chapter 7: The Talking Cricket's Warning. Summary. Pinocchio encounters the talking cricket again, who tries to warn him about the dangers of his reckless behavior. Pinocchio dismisses the cricket, ignoring the advice given. The cricket's repeated warnings highlight the voice of reason that Pinocchio continues to reject. Analysis and notes. The cricket symbolizes wisdom, conscience, and moral guidance. Pinocchio's refusal to listen illustrates his immaturity and lack of self-discipline. The cricket's role becomes an ongoing moral compass throughout the story. Chapter 8: The Fairy with Blue Hair. Summary. Pinocchio meets the fairy with blue hair, who saves him from a dangerous situation and begins to look after him. She represents maternal love and guidance, offering the possibility of redemption for Pinocchio. This is a significant moment in Pinocchio's development as he experiences care and love from someone other than Geppetto. Analysis and notes. The fairy serves as a maternal figure who provides the warmth and nurturing that Pinocchio needs. Her intervention shows the power of care and love to shape a person's character. It marks a crucial moment in Pinocchio's potential transformation. Chapter 9: The Rescue by the Fairy. Summary: The Blue Fairy rescues Pinocchio after he is hung by a thief. She tends to him and warns him about the consequences of his lying, which causes his nose to grow. She offers him a chance for redemption but tells him that only by becoming a good boy can he truly become human. Analysis and notes. Pinocchio's nose growing when he lies is one of the most iconic symbols of the story. It represents the tangible consequences of dishonesty, which is a key moral theme in the book. This chapter sets up the core lesson that actions have consequences, and honesty is integral to becoming a better person. Chapter 10: The Return of the Fox and the Cat. Summary: Pinocchio is once again tricked by the fox and the cat, who led him to the field of miracles. They promise him riches, but as always, they deceive him. When he returns to the field, he finds that his gold coins have been stolen. Analysis and notes. Pinocchio's repeated mistakes highlight his immaturity and inability to learn from past experiences. The fox and the cat's manipulative behavior further illustrates the theme of deception and the dangers of trusting those who have selfish motives. Chapter 11: The Thieves and the Ass. Summary: Pinocchio encounters a group of thieves who take advantage of him. They lock him in a room and prepare to rob him. He manages to escape, but his constant run-ins with criminals show his ongoing struggle with judgment and discernment. Analysis and notes. This chapter illustrates the risks of associating with the wrong people. Pinocchio's ongoing vulnerability to manipulation highlights his lack of experience and wisdom. The story continues to stress the importance of careful decision-making. Chapter 12: The Escape and the New Danger. Summary: Pinocchio escapes the thieves and faces a new set of challenges, finding himself in even more dangerous situations. He comes to realize that his actions have serious consequences and that he must start being more responsible if he hopes to change his fate. Analysis and notes. This chapter marks the beginning of Pinocchio's self-awareness. He starts to understand the consequences of his actions and begins to contemplate the need for personal change. However, his journey of growth is far from complete. Chapter 13: The Promise of Change. Summary: Pinocchio makes a promise to the fairy to become a better boy and to work hard. He begins to see the value in honesty and hard work and starts to apply himself, hoping that his efforts will help him become a real boy. Analysis and notes. This chapter is a turning point in Pinocchio's character arc. His promise to change symbolizes his first true desire to better himself. This marks the beginning of his emotional and moral growth, even though the road ahead remains difficult. Chapter 14: The Work and the Reward. Summary: Pinocchio finds a job as a carpenter, working hard and making small improvements in his life. He starts to earn money and begins to appreciate the value of hard work. He also receives news that Geppetto is searching for him, which stirs feelings of regret and longing in Pinocchio. This marks a moment of maturity, as he begins to understand the importance of responsibility and family. Analysis and notes. This chapter shows Pinocchio's gradual transformation from a carefree, impulsive figure into a more responsible individual. His job and the money he earns represent the fruits of his labor, teaching him the value of effort. The mention of Geppetto also highlights the significance of family ties, which will become increasingly important in Pinocchio's journey. Chapter 15: The Storm at Sea. Summary: Pinocchio sets out to find Geppetto, who has fallen ill, braving a dangerous storm at sea. Despite the dangers, Pinocchio's determination to help his father pushes him forward. He faces physical and emotional challenges during the storm but remains committed to his goal. Analysis and notes. The storm represents the external struggles Pinocchio faces as he moves toward personal redemption. It mirrors the internal conflict he experiences, the turmoil of growth and change. Pinocchio's perseverance, despite the odds, shows the emerging strength of his character. Chapter 16: Geppetto's Illness and the Rescue. Summary: Pinocchio reaches Geppetto's home and finds his father gravely ill. Pinocchio nurses him back to health, displaying deep affection and concern for the man who has cared for him. Geppetto's recovery represents a new beginning for both characters. Pinocchio now understands the importance of caring for others and the consequences of his previous selfishness. Analysis and notes. This chapter marks a significant moment of growth for Pinocchio. His selflessness in caring for Geppetto shows that he is beginning to take responsibility for his actions. The act of nurturing also symbolizes Pinocchio's emotional maturation and his ability to give back the love he has received. Chapter 17, The Final Transformation. Summary. Pinocchio, after showing consistent effort to improve, is finally rewarded for his transformation. The fairy, who has guided him along the way, turns Pinocchio into a real boy. Pinocchio's dreams come true, and he is no longer a puppet but a human child. He has earned his redemption through his acts of love, hard work, and honesty. Analysis and notes. This chapter represents the culmination of Pinocchio's transformation. His reward, becoming a real boy, symbolizes the idea that true transformation comes through consistent effort and moral growth. Pinocchio's transformation is a metaphor for the journey from immaturity and irresponsibility to maturity and self-awareness. Chapter 18, The Return to the Village. Summary. Pinocchio returns to the village, where the people who once saw him as a puppet now see him as a real boy. His transformation is recognized by others, and he is welcomed into society. Pinocchio begins to take on more responsibilities, contributing to the community and proving his worth. Analysis and notes. Pinocchio's return to the village marks his reintegration into society after his personal growth. His acceptance by the villagers shows that external recognition is the result of true inner change. This chapter reflects the theme of redemption, demonstrating that a person's worth is recognized through their actions and character. Chapter 19, The Reward of a Father's Love. Summary. Pinocchio continues to show love and appreciation for Geppetto. He works hard to support his father and even buys him a gift to show his gratitude. Their bond grows stronger as Pinocchio realizes the depth of his father's love and sacrifice. Analysis and notes. This chapter emphasizes the importance of reciprocal love and gratitude in relationships. Pinocchio's growth is reflected in his understanding of the sacrifices Geppetto made for him. The chapter showcases the theme of love as a transformative force in Pinocchio's life. Chapter 20, A New Beginning. Summary. With his newfound maturity, Pinocchio embraces his life as a real boy. He continues to work hard, care for Geppetto, and live with honesty and integrity. He has learned the lessons of responsibility, love, and self-reliance. His journey, while now completed, is only the beginning of a new, more responsible life. Analysis and notes. The chapter represents the final stage of Pinocchio's transformation, showing that growth is a lifelong process. Although he has achieved his goal of becoming a real boy, the story ends with the understanding that true maturity involves continuing to learn and develop. Chapter 21, The Old Man and the New Challenges. Summary. Pinocchio's life is tested further when he is faced with new challenges. He must confront difficult situations and temptations that test his resolve to remain good. Despite the temptation to revert to his old ways, Pinocchio continues to work hard and stay true to his promises. Analysis and notes. This chapter reinforces the idea that even after transformation, challenges continue. Pinocchio must constantly make the right choices to stay on the path of growth. It highlights that self-improvement is a continuous process and that temptation can arise at any stage of life. Chapter 22, The Consequences of Inaction. Summary. Pinocchio faces the consequences of inaction when he neglects his responsibilities. His failures lead to temporary setbacks, reminding him that success requires consistent effort. Pinocchio learns that he must stay committed to his goals if he is to maintain the progress he has made. Analysis and notes. This chapter underscores the need for persistence and dedication. It teaches that progress is fragile and requires constant attention. Pinocchio's temporary setbacks remind readers that failure is a part of growth but should not deter one from continuing to strive toward their goals. Chapter 23, The Talking Cricket's Warning Again. Summary. Pinocchio once again encounters the talking cricket, who warns him about the dangers of neglecting his responsibilities and straying from his path. However, Pinocchio, still headstrong and impulsive, dismisses the cricket's advice. The cricket, representing Pinocchio's conscience, continues to urge him toward moral growth. Analysis and notes. The talking cricket's persistent warnings emphasize the importance of conscience in decision-making. Pinocchio's disregard for his conscience reflects his ongoing struggles with maturity and responsibility. This recurring theme of ignoring moral guidance shows Pinocchio's difficulty in fully internalizing the lessons he's learning. Chapter 24, The Temptation of the Puppet Show. Summary. Pinocchio's old temptation reappears when he is invited to join a puppet show. The opportunity seems promising, but Pinocchio quickly realizes that it is a trap. The temptation to return to a life of ease and fame continues to lure him, but this time, he resists. This marks another step in his gradual maturity, as he is now able to recognize the dangers of seeking fame without effort. Analysis and notes. This chapter reinforces the theme of temptation and the importance of resisting false promises. Pinocchio's ability to resist the puppet show is a sign of his growth and awareness of the need for hard work rather than shortcuts. It shows that maturity involves making difficult choices for the sake of long-term happiness. Chapter 25, The Journey to the Unknown. Summary. Pinocchio embarks on a journey of self-discovery and self-improvement. He encounters new challenges that test his resolve, but each challenge strengthens his character. Along the way, he meets new characters who provide him with lessons, further shaping his understanding of the world and his place in it. Analysis and notes. This chapter represents a period of self-reflection for Pinocchio. The journey symbolizes the ongoing process of growth, showing that maturation involves seeking out new experiences and learning from them. Pinocchio's willingness to face challenges head-on indicates his readiness for true responsibility. Chapter 26, The Fairy's Final Advice. Summary. The Blue Fairy reappears to give Pinocchio one last piece of advice. She tells him that he has proven himself worthy of being a real boy, but that he must continue to be honest and kind. The fairy emphasizes that Pinocchio's true transformation depends not only on external changes but on his internal character. Analysis and notes. This chapter is crucial as it reminds Pinocchio that external rewards, such as becoming a real boy, are secondary to internal transformation. The fairy's advice highlights the theme of intrinsic growth, that true change comes from the heart, not from appearances. Pinocchio's transformation, therefore, is a combination of his actions and his growing understanding of morality. Chapter 27, The Return to Geppetto. Summary. Pinocchio is reunited with Geppetto, who is overjoyed at seeing his son again. Pinocchio's love and care for Geppetto have deepened, and he works hard to support him. Geppetto's pride in his son reflects the emotional bond they share, and the two live happily together. Pinocchio's devotion to his father marks his full realization of what it means to love and care for others selflessly. Analysis and notes. This chapter emphasizes the importance of family and selflessness. Pinocchio's decision to return to Geppetto shows that he has learned the value of love and sacrifice. It also demonstrates how personal growth can lead to stronger, more fulfilling relationships. Chapter 28, The Reward for Hard Work. Summary. Pinocchio is rewarded for his hard work and dedication, not through magical means but through the natural progression of his efforts. He begins to see the fruits of his labor, achieving success in ways that require persistence and perseverance. His reward is not immediate, but it is genuine and sustainable. Analysis and notes. The chapter reinforces the theme of hard work leading to true success. Pinocchio's reward is the result of consistent effort and moral integrity. It underscores the importance of patience and persistence in achieving one's goals. Chapter 29, The Temptation of Wealth. Summary. Pinocchio faces another temptation, this time involving the promise of wealth and luxury. However, he has learned from past experiences and recognizes the deceit behind the offer. He turns down the chance for easy riches, choosing instead to continue his honest life of hard work. Analysis and notes. The temptation of wealth highlights the ongoing struggle between short-term desires and long-term fulfillment. Pinocchio's resistance to the temptation is a significant sign of his growth and maturity, as he now values integrity over material gain. Chapter 30, The Test of Friendship. Summary. Pinocchio meets a new friend who invites him to join in some mischievous activities. This chapter tests Pinocchio's ability to discern good influences from bad. He resists the temptation to follow his new friend down a path of mischief and instead chooses to stick to his newfound values. Analysis and notes. This chapter emphasizes the importance of surrounding oneself with positive influences. Pinocchio's ability to resist his friend's bad influence marks his growth in judgment and discernment. It is a reminder that personal growth involves making wise choices in the people we associate with. Chapter 31, The Final Lesson. Summary. Pinocchio learns the final lesson that will guide his future. He recognizes that the journey of self-improvement is ongoing, and that it requires constant vigilance. He resolves to remain honest, hardworking, and kind, understanding that his character defines his destiny. Analysis and notes. This chapter encapsulates the core lesson of the story: personal transformation requires continuous effort and self-awareness. Pinocchio's commitment to maintaining his growth reflects the idea that true change comes from within and is an ongoing process. Chapter 32, The Transformation into a Real Boy. Summary. At last, Pinocchio's transformation is complete. He has become a real boy, not just in appearance but in spirit. His heart is full of love, and he is now capable of understanding the true meaning of life. He is finally the boy he always dreamed of becoming, but he understands that this transformation was earned through his moral growth and choices. Analysis and notes. This chapter represents the culmination of Pinocchio's journey. His transformation into a real boy is a metaphor for the maturation process that requires emotional and moral growth. Pinocchio's ultimate success reflects the idea that true fulfillment comes from within. Chapter 33, A New Beginning for Pinocchio. Summary. Pinocchio, now a real boy, embarks on a new life. He continues to live with Geppetto and works hard to support him. The two live happily together, and Pinocchio takes on new responsibilities, understanding that his journey of self-improvement never truly ends. Analysis and notes. This chapter represents the beginning of Pinocchio's real life. His transformation is complete, but it's clear that his journey of growth continues. It reinforces the theme of continuous self-improvement and the importance of maintaining one's moral integrity throughout life. Chapter 34, The Legacy of Pinocchio. Summary. The story ends with Pinocchio reflecting on his journey and the lessons he has learned. He realizes that his experiences have shaped him into a better person, and he is now capable of living a life of honesty, hard work, and love. Pinocchio's story serves as a timeless reminder of the importance of moral growth and the power of redemption. Chapter 35, The Return of the Old Man. Summary. Geppetto is miraculously restored to full health and returns to the village with Pinocchio. They are finally able to start a new life together, free from the trials and hardships they previously endured. Pinocchio's love for Geppetto deepens as they reunite and work toward a brighter future. Analysis and notes. This chapter represents a final moment of reunion and stability for the two main characters. Geppetto's recovery symbolizes the restoration of what Pinocchio has learned, that love and family are worth fighting for. The return to normalcy reinforces the idea that hard times eventually give way to new beginnings when one learns from their past. Chapter 36, The Real Boy at Last. Summary. Pinocchio, now a real boy, enjoys the rewards of his transformation. He can walk freely in the world, enjoying the fruits of his labor and his moral growth. His relationship with Geppetto strengthens, and he continues to live a life full of love, care, and responsibility. He is no longer a puppet, but a real boy in both body and spirit. Analysis and notes. This final chapter completes Pinocchio's journey, not just in the physical transformation from puppet to boy but in his inner moral transformation. Becoming a real boy signifies the culmination of his struggle to understand love, responsibility, and truth. His growth represents the universal theme of maturation, that true change comes from within and is reflected in one's actions. Analysis and notes. The final chapter encapsulates the moral core of the story, that through perseverance, honesty, and hard work, anyone can achieve personal transformation. Pinocchio's legacy is one of redemption, showing that even the most flawed individuals can change if they are committed to self-improvement. Thanks for listening SI Audiobooks.